Hello, crypto traders, crypto investors. How are you all keeping? It's been a while since I made a last video. To be honest, I was trying to figure out what the whole thing, trying to figure out the whole thing, what happened, what's gonna be, what are my next steps. Because I kind of figured out the way um, to make money when this was going down, and I got really used to it. And I was making a nice profits when the markets were going down because I was shorting all the time and I was picking good spots. I just picked up the game and I just picked up the system, and then just when I figured it out, things changed. Although interesting enough, I actually made a video 8th of April that I think that markets are gonna pump up. So it was before here. Although then I didn't expect this at all, and like this completely surprised me, the magnitude of like how strong the movement was. But okay, that's history. So let's look what's going on and in the markets. As we know, all the strong pump that we had after we break out of this falling wedge, and we had this strong momentum, and there was a lot of shorts were liquidated. But now everybody's gonna guessing, okay, what's gonna happen next, and what's going on, what's gonna happen to Bitcoin, what's gonna happen to altcoins. And if you haven't, I would highly recommend. I posted this today on my Twitter. It's like a thread that talks about 4 different scenarios what can happen. Because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was inspired by Ray Dalio, which I'm reading his book now, and he was like a really revolutionary, almost like Steve Jobs of investing. And he made a system that was good in any conditions, and I was thinking a lot like, how can I make a portfolio that will perform well no matter what? And I haven't yet come up with a final idea, but at least I set my foundations down, and I figured, okay, there are actually like four different scenarios that can happen in Bitcoin, and you can I'll just go through them really fast, but I will invite you to read this on my Twitter. So scenario is Bitcoin goes up, alts go up, we break through the 200 moving average, and then another one, Bitcoin goes up and alts go down, and I have the reasoning for each of them. So yeah, go ahead and read this. I would highly recommend. So just to get the foundation of that, you understand that, I think this line, the purple line here, it's really really important. Um, I'll make it even bigger so that you can see. This line is really important, and why? Because in 2014, when we had the last kind of like big like bubble of a scale like it is now, we had actually really similar situation. And of course, there are different strategies out there. Some people say that history repeats itself, and then there are traders like Soros who says that history never repeats itself, because basically what happens is that conditions change. But just take a look at this. I think I've also replied to on Twitter. There was somebody posted that, oh look, we broke through this, but last time we didn't. We broke through it, but the trend line, similar to what we are doing, we did now, but still that didn't mean a new bull trend, new bullish trend. And I posted a comment. Yeah, at that time we had a similar situation, but then we hit 200 MA. But I think all of you can see this at a first glance, how similar this is. And I'll put this a little bit bolder, this trend line. So as you see, we were testing this. We had this trend line, and we tested it. Okay, here, this is where it was set, and we tested it once, retested once, twice, three, 4 times, and then we broke through it. And just look at the similarities. Now, right, we had this, it's almost identical. So we went, okay, here we came close, and then we retest one, twice. We had less retraces, that's less tests, we broke through sooner. So we broke through it with a big volume like we did in 2014. And I think a lot of people now think that, okay, now that's it, that's the end of bear market, and we're just going up from here. Because look at here, we also had like a strong momentum, like prices rising here. But then what happened is we hit this 200 EMA, no, not EMA, simple moving average, not exponential, and we just couldn't get through it. As you see here, there was just not enough steam. So we hit this, although like it seemed like, look at this momentum, we definitely should break through. We just stopped, and then the bear market just continued, and then it was just dragging and dragging since June, all the way here to, so June 2014 to August 2015. So for a year we had this bear trend continue. So it's hard to tell what's gonna happen, and there is an argument to be made that in 2014 the scenario was different. The Mt. Gox was hacked, but also what happens if all of a sudden regulation tightens up, like SEC comes in, and who knows what is going to happen there. I mean, for Bitcoin, and I also talk about this in my post in Twitter, it's almost like a fact already, or the information that we know so far from SEC. They said that Bitcoin is as far as it can be from security, because it's not centralized, because it's the most decentralized, and it's basically similar to gold because you have to mine it. And security is when you're buying a share of a company, and here you're not buying any share of anything because it's nobody's is owning it as a central authority. So it's not a security. So even if security comes in, how is this gonna impact the alts, and how it's gonna impact the whole thing? It's quite interesting to think about that. So you can find this in my Twitter post. So if we have a similar situation to 2014, as you see, it's all the similarities. We can bounce here and see what happens. Okay, maybe even if we don't, even if we don't have a continuous bear market, definitely I see this as a big resistance area. If nothing else, this will be quite a key area to watch because of this moving average. So this is one really important thing that I wanted to point out. This is some kind of a rising wedge that's forming here. I didn't come up with this. There was somebody else on Twitter that posted this. But lately on a micro level, why I had lots of problems with trading lately since we had this run, is because every time I saw a rising wedge and I traded, it was like a short signal. I would actually get run over because it would just keep on going up, and I was shorting it, which was, not the smartest thing to do. But this is where the experience comes in. I need to gain more experience, and of course I only started doing this full time in December, so it's all quite new, and it's totally different to just know ideas, but to put this into practice, that's a different approach. So this is what is happening. We're coming closer to this, and then we're gonna see how that plays out. So that's an important thing to be aware of. And then another thing, I have a few things here to talk about. I was just looking at Google Trends by Bitcoin, how the trends are changing, or how is popularity of different terms in Google, and buy Bitcoin. It's interesting that it actually, although we're going up in the price, the interest for buy Bitcoin is not going up that much. But the most interesting thing is that I found is that mostly people from the countries in development are looking at this in Africa. So we have Nigeria, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Ghana, South Africa. Who would have guessed that they are looking at this? They are looking at Bitcoin at the moment, which is great actually, because they are the people that need Bitcoin the most. Because if you've read Andreas Antonopoulos' books, he's saying, you know what, I mean, a lot of developing countries like, America, Europe, we don't actually need Bitcoin because we have banks, you can send the transactions, like for me, for instance, I live in Ireland, but I'm from Slovenia, so I would still have to make some transactions back to my home country, and basically it's not as expensive as people say. Oh, the fees are so high. Actually, the fees are not. I don't even know if I pay any fees, or if it is, it's such a small fee that I don't even notice. Maybe a few cents or 30 cents or so. I don't even know, but we don't need it in that kind of perspective. But the people that don't even have banks, I mean, there are billions and billions of people that don't even have access to banks. So these are the people that really need them. So it's interesting to see this, really interesting to see this trend here. Although if you just type in Bitcoin, you get a bit different result. And Slovenia is always close to the top, which is also interesting. My home country there. But yeah, like the interest for Bitcoin is not going up as you would think, because if we look at the last like real hype, here starting October, November, especially December, the interest on Google was really about Bitcoin was really going up, but we're still kind of declining. So it makes me think that this run is only made by the money that is already in the game. And although I was already saying that maybe the bear market is over here, I was saying that. And there's not the really, they say that picking tops and bottom is not a winning game, and it's true. Like it's to, like I'm trying to forecast. Okay, what's gonna happen? It's not as useful as having a plan on what to do in each case. But I want to just have an idea of what is possible. This is why the forecasts, like it's not a winning game, as they say. So there's not really too much point in doing so. But I was thinking about it. We might actually go higher here in 6th of April, because everybody was thinking that we're going lower. Because the thing is, like every usually what you get is that thing happens that hurts the most people, just the opposite of what majority thinks. And now a lot of the people think after this bounce that we are going up. So again, I'm thinking, okay, if I think differently, then we're actually not. So this is why I'm changing my opinion quite a lot according to the data that I have presented, and according to the sentiment that it's out there on Twitter, of course, and stuff like that. So that's an interesting thing to watch here. So that has me a little bit worried, or not worried, like more cautious for sure, that maybe this is just not the bull run that a lot of people are talking about. And another really interesting thing is, and for this one, if we're looking at the coin market cap, okay, this is a bit slow, and I'm gonna zoom in to about November, or okay, this is, I can zoom even closer, something like this. And I can actually, like, do I put this? It doesn't even matter if I have this in linear or logarithmic scale. And of course, I can't draw lines on this one, but I can walk you through. And I think I'm seeing something here that is also quite important to watch. It's I'm trying to look at different things and then correlate them together and get a whole big picture. So if we look at here, 9th of December, we reached around 420, right? For $420 billion in market cap altogether, and then we bounced off, and we had a little bit of correction here, and then after the races we went higher, and then we retested, kind of like that area. It's kind of a bit tricky to find the exact bottom, but it was higher. It was not exactly on point there, 440 for kind of 80, and then we retested this area again for 50. I'm just wondered what I want to point out here, that this is a really, really strong zone, and as you see, it's not really precise, because this is basically more coins at the same time. They're all coins together on market cap, so it's not as precise as you would see bounce in Bitcoin or something like this. Sounds quite close to those crucial areas. So it's a wide zone. So you have first here, so I was left with here, and then again here we kind of tested it, but it failed to, okay, we bounced off, but it failed to hold. So after that we had this big sell-off because this failed to hold, and then this was resistance again, and then when we got through, we tested it again, and we just didn't have enough momentum to rise from there. So as we went lower, we just had this sell off, and now we're approaching again. And this is the main point. This is what I'm telling you about this, because we're kind of approaching this key area when it comes to market cap, that is between, we could say, between 430, 420-ish to 470. I know it's quite a wide range, but I think there's gonna be something interesting happening there. Maybe we won't reverse, or I think we might reverse back down, but it's definitely, there's gonna be some resistance there. If we put this together with the fact that we're coming close to 200 EMA, not EMA, I'm always saying EMA, it's simple moving average, not exponential. We're gonna see some heavy selling here. It's only the time will tell what is gonna happen, but it's just something to be mindful of. So that's another thing. And then, okay, you have this dominance of Bitcoin is going down, and yeah, I don't think you can really say too much about this. I was reading, some people said that they are waiting for Bitcoin dominance to go down to about 30% before they expect another big run of Bitcoin. The only thing that I saw was just I was just going back to what was happening, and okay, this was maybe obvious, and maybe it has nothing to, it's not really relevant to this video, but it was just interesting too, because I was comparing Bitcoin to other coins, like the bigger coins, and I was thinking, okay, Bitcoin was going down, so this was, Ethereum was going sideways. Where did all the money go? And then you could see that Ripple at that time was going higher. So this is just like maybe what we could learn looking in the past here is how much of an effect altcoins can have on Bitcoin, because I think this is, we could easily say that this is correlated, because when there was a big hype for Ripple back there in December, and then to what was this, the start of January, a lot of money was coming from Bitcoin into altcoins, and I think this is actually happening now as well. You see, when you see this alt pumping up, this gray line here, it's similar to what was happening here when Ripple was kind of leading the charge. So we're seeing this transition here as well, and you can also read about this in my short little post there. Not that short, but a post, multiple posts in Twitter. So yeah, I'm just putting all this information out there, and I think it's gonna just to create a bigger picture of what's going on. And then another thing is this. This is Ethereum and Bitcoin chart, and I got this actually from Luke Martin, and I would highly recommend checking out Luke Martin. He is a really good trader. Luke Martin, venture capitalist. You can find him on Twitter. I saw him talking on CNBC America, and he wrote this chart down. And before we had this strong bounce here and strong rally of altcoins, he suggested that this might happen soon, because if we connect this channel, this green line here is exactly Fib level 618, and here if you put this extension here, we bounced off his 618 here again, so it's kind of like double area 618, and we bounced off here, and now kind of what happens with Ethereum leads the charge for a lot of altcoins. So when you have a strong rally like this on Ethereum, he tends to bring altcoins with him. So we are seeing this, and now we hit a little bit of resistance here on 382. Especially here, this long wick shows us that there's a little bit of resistance, but we're quite strong. Okay, this is 3-day chart. If we go to 4-hourly chart, okay, we bounced exactly on the point there, which is quite interesting to watch, but we already broke through, and now we are retesting it. So yeah, it's a really interesting time for cryptocurrencies, that's for sure. A lot of things going on, and there's quite a lot of things to figure out. Like I'm looking at all this, the bigger picture, and I'm trying to figure out what is the best thing to do. And I'm on the fence actually, although I was thinking about, okay, this might have been the low, and I bought a little bit there of Bitcoin and Ethereum. The fact that how market reacted, it's a bit concerning, because it seemed like there was just a big player pushing through and liquidating the shorts here. And okay, if you haven't heard about this already, I was talking about this already in the video, but I'm gonna show it again because it's really important. So a lot of shorts were liquidated here, so this is what was pushing the price higher. So this was easily a big player, big whale, pushing the price up. So that has me concerned. I'm not all in on alts yet. This is my main point. All right, so this was it. This was the whole story behind Bitcoin. This is how I see it, and I'm trying to bring in a different perspectives as to what you would hear elsewhere, so then you can gather the information and make your own decisions, because this is not a financial advice, of course. This is just a random dude talking about his opinion about crypto markets in this video. So if you like this video, if you want to see more of the videos like that, please like, share, and subscribe. And see you next time. Good luck.